I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And
this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. Hey, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We are entering very soon 2026. And today we want to talk a little bit about new you, new year, new me, and the BS around that, because this reinvention culture is an annual pressure trap that keeps entrepreneurs from actually growing their businesses. Let's talk about it.
Oh man, for those of you who know us, know that this is like one of our want to punch somebody in the face when they say this, but we know. And I love that you just use pressure. It is a societal pressure that has been put, and it's become this bastardized buzz kind of psyche almost, that's like phenomenon that has happened that is actually not cool for you, because you feel like, and yes, we're not saying that you cannot reinvent who you are figuratively and literally. Like, there are lots of people who take a swift left turn and pivot and reinvent who they are. We are all for that. But this whole feeling like you constantly are a new person, it's almost like it didn't matter what you were doing then. Like, you can do all the things, and when January 1 rolls around, you can just be who you want to be. Bullshit. You've created all these habits, you've created all this other stuff. There's a core essence of who you are. And yeah, I know that was a little bit of a rant, but damn, that pressure, that psyche, it's all marketing. It was marketing BS that put everybody into this like mindset of thinking that you can just flip the switch. And for most people, sorry to say, you don't have the capacity nor the nuts to do so. So not long term.
I mean, it's funny to talk about being a marketing ploy, because I've absolutely used this marketing ploy. Yeah. Even though I hate the concept of New Year's resolutions, I absolutely will use it from a marketing standpoint in certain businesses. But really, this whole new me concept is a false promise. I mean, research shows that probably, I don't know, it's over 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. Most of them fail within the first week of January.
Yes.
And when it comes to this concept of reinventing yourself, and I love that Lynn says, it's not that we don't think you can reinvent yourself. It's like an identity fatigue. So this constant reinvention, it's exhausting your brand. It's exhausting, your clients, your team, your mindset. I mean, you can't constantly be reinventing yourself. Maybe you don't need to be reinvented. Maybe you just need to evolve who you already are. Like, maybe you don't need to reinvent every single thing that you do and be this whole new person. Maybe the person you are is awesome and you just need to evolve certain parts of it. I just feel like there's this overwhelming identity fatigue that happens. And then it's this overwhelming upset when inevitably by February, nothing you said you were going to do has happened, because you just kind of put it out there like, I'm going to read 30 books a month and I'm going to just do this. And it doesn't happen because you don't have put any strategy behind it or any real thought to it. It's just the hype of reinventing, and there's no substance.
Oh man, yeah, there's no substance. Absolutely. I once heard a quote, and I can't remember exactly what it was. The resolution kind of mindset and core is like from motivation, right? Resolutions rely on motivation to come to fruition. But like the systems that you have is actually built and relies on structure that you've put into place. And motivation comes and goes. Structure continues to be built upon. And so when you create this like ideology that you are every year reinventing yourself, getting caught up into the resolution, you're tapping into, and mind you, we are a more burnt out society at capacity, no more fucks to give people in general, because of overstimulation, because of over being sold to, because of overcommitting, because of over access. And it's not a bad thing, but this is post COVID. We haven't fully, and I know we use that as a marker, It's not as an excuse or as a reason. It is a marker, but we have seen an extreme growth in that. And we have, if you Google it, if you don't know people, like everybody's burnt out, even though most of them aren't necessarily at the true burnt out stage, but that's more medical,
different podcast.
Yeah. Different podcast. Thanks. But if you're continually relying on motivation to build your business and to reinvent yourself, you are increasing that burnout fatigue. You are increasing your failure, which puts you into the cycle because you don't hold yourself accountable. You can't stay committed to the things that you think that you need to jump on the bandwagon with the new year, new me. And you're creating this toxic cycle that is absolutely not getting you anywhere. And it is creating, maybe at best, micro building of your systems, where you can absolutely, that won't strengthen your structure. So that's where you see these plateaus, maybe a little bit of growth in your business and longer plateaus, because you're relying on motivation, and motivation gets burnout, but structures you can continue to build. And it's crazy.
And we have a previous episode we did on motivation versus discipline. And go back and listen to it, because all of this pressure in January is just a kind of fake urgency. Everyone is overwhelmed. Everyone is unfocused. Everybody is financially tapped and recovering from the holidays. So maybe this isn't the best time to be making big changes in who you are and what you need to do. Maybe you need to step back into the data and into the structure of your business and to upgraded systems rather than on this reinvention of who you're going to be. And maybe that new identity would be better spent, instead of thinking I'm going to reinvent myself. Maybe it's better spent ceasing all the dragging of old decisions and old parts of you into the new seasons. Like maybe it's just let go of all that old stuff that isn't working, rely on the data, look back on what's working strategically, and move forward and evolve forward that way, rather than reinventing everything. Just as Lynn said, like it's this fake, crazy, over burnt out pressure that is fake urgency. You don't have to do everything in January because society says that you have to, and that this is the time to reinvent yourself. There's nothing wrong with reinventing your systems and doing something in June, or thinking about it in November and starting earlier. We're not big. In case you didn't notice, we're not big on the New Year's resolution concept over here.
Yeah, it's almost like recommitting versus reinventing, right? So what you were talking about is like optimize what's working, get rid of the shit, what's not working, rely on the data, rely on those numbers, and recommitting and amplifying what is working. I keep thinking about like a couple of things here. People feel like they're in this like new year, new me. In the woo-woo side, it's almost like you're poo-pooing and abandoning your old self, like in a mentality way, and also in a spiritual way. And that's not cool. Like it's an addiction to a reset button. And a lot of times I see people not taking responsibility for the shit that they did, and kind of halfway taking responsibility for the things that they're going to do in the future, because there's this like disconnect. And they also don't go all in, because they're like, I can reinvent myself in 7 months, 3 days, and 2 hours. And so there's this, it's just weird. It's weird. But here's the thing. Growth is not easy. Growth is hard. And when you constantly are hitting the reset button, you're not growing. It's not starting fresh. What you're probably doing is you're avoiding your follow-throughs. You're not committed fully, in my opinion. You're not committed fully. And let's take health and I know this is your industry. Also, like, even though I don't own businesses in the health industry, health is a big aspect of my life, and staying healthy. But that is like the quintessential like New Year's resolution. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. It's a lifestyle. I just had this conversation the other day with somebody, and the discipline that I try to have. Sometimes 65-35, sometimes 80-20, sometimes 90-10. But like the working out every day and the eating right and all of these other things, it's a lifestyle. It's a choice on a daily basis. And it doesn't mean that I might not throw something new in there, but it's a lifestyle which maintains me and grows me where I'm at, right? Not grows me wide, hopefully, but grows me as in like the healthy way. And it's the same for our business. Like hitting growth, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be these interesting things. But if you're constantly hitting the reset button, if you're constantly addicted to not having the follow through, you end up making excuses for yourself. I'll start that tomorrow. And the whole thing, I know you remember this, and I know I'm in the fitness side, but like the binge days became into binge weeks. And I think it started as binge meal. Like you can have a binge meal. Before you know it, you're like into a binge month. And that is not healthy for you. This is how your business is when you're looking at it from this angle. Like it's not good for you or your business.
Absolutely. And when I think of New Year's resolutions in the concept of my business specifically, I mean, obviously we can talk all day long about the 10 most popular New Year's resolutions that inevitably fail. But from a business perspective, when I think about the resolutions I want to have for my business, like goals, because we don't do resolutions, but the goals I have for my business, they're not going to magically start on January 1 because it's January 1. And I know most people don't believe that. I mean, obviously there's work involved, but the things that are really going to drive into true profit and true growth within your business, you've probably, hopefully, already set up some of those systems, strategies, and habits now, knowing that it's going to take time because no reinvention happens overnight. No reinvention happens with a motivational quote that you set on January 1st, knowing your business is going to change. Those things have to happen gradually. So if you want to see big change in your business, if you want to reinvent who you are as a business owner, I'm not saying don't start January 1st. Fine, start January 1st. If that's the day you need to make as your marker, start that day. But don't expect to be that thing on January 1st. Expect to grow into it slowly with discipline. You can get there. It's not magic. It's not a magic button. If it were that easy, we would all do it.
No ruby shoes.
No, nothing. I'm not going to click my heels together 3 times and get anything. So
yeah, wake up, people.
Yeah. When you're approaching your New Year's, and if you want to have New Year's resolutions, great, have them. But you're going to get further if you consider it more of a strategic goal, put in the work, and really think about what it's going to take to reinvent yourself in that way, to evolve who you are as a person, as a business owner, as a business itself. What's that going to take? Reverse engineer it. Start from where you need to start. Start from where you are. Don't start from this idealized new me that doesn't exist, because you won't be able to hold on to it, just like 80% of the population not being able to hold on to resolution. Instead, small actions put in consistently are going to get you there.
Yes. Listen, I am a big person of I have certain times of the year where I do certain things, like around my birthday, around the 1st, around spring, around Thanksgiving, like different days trigger different things in me, but it's also a process of mine that I've put in a lot of work to create some systems and processes around. But one of the things that we haven't really mentioned with all this being said is that I am a vision board person, but vision boards don't work if you don't put in the work. And if you don't put in the boundaries. If your boundaries don't work and you aren't working, your vision board might come to nitnoy, eensy weensy, tiny bit of fruition. And I believe in that, but it's the work that is happening. But with that being said, also is the behaviors and the habits. If you are in this like phenomenon fate, caught up in this new year, new me phenomenon, you cannot get different results doing the same things over and over and over again that you've always done, right? In order to get a different result, you have to do something differently. And if your behavior and your mindset and your habits stay the same, then you're going to be on the failure list 1 weekend, 2 weekend, 1 month. And then that creates everything that we just talked about earlier in the podcast. And so making sure that regardless of when you're trying to up level, and look at it as up leveling versus reinventing, think of it as recommitting versus reinventing, look at your behaviors, look at your mindset, look at your habits. And this will help you absolutely integrate growth in a very different way that will be sustainable, hopefully scalable, as well as, satisfying, because you're not creating this failure cycle that you then don't acknowledge. That absolutely creates a habit that you don't have to stay in integrity with yourself or your promises, which turns around in your business and in your personal life, and so on and so forth.
Forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because I was just thinking how, it is a cycle. And then that's when you hear people say things like, oh, this just wasn't my year. Next year's going to be my year.
So tired of hearing
It
that.
doesn't just magically become your year. You don't magically have time. You create these things. I think that's I feel like every episode I have, like, if one more person says to me, and I think this is one of the things I hear all the time, 2025 wasn't my year, then 2026 is going to be my year. And, oh, this isn't working out for me because of some mythical reason. Mercury's in retrograde and that's why this isn't working. And, maybe Mercury is in retrograde. Great. It's still not the reason why things didn't work out this week. It's still not going to get better when Mercury's in the opposite of whatever Mercury, right? I don't know.
I actually don't even know what it's called when it's not. Ooh, and it's funny when you were talking about this, I was thinking of, and I cannot remember exactly how the story goes. And I know this is kind of on the religious side, but how somebody gets to heaven, please forgive me, I know I'm gonna butcher this, but somebody gets to heaven and is like, God, why didn't you save me? And he's like, but I sent you this. I sent you a boat, and you like, God's going to get me. And I sent you a life raft, and no, God's going to get me, and whatever. Do you remember how that story goes?
Yeah, you got it in the gist.
Yeah. And essentially, so for those of you saying, well, we do have years, because I can hear all of especially those that believe in like the Chinese horoscopes and different things like that, and even like regular horoscopes, that there are supposedly more years, the 7-year cycle as well. There are years that are supposed to be more in our favor. I do believe in that. However, if I say, no, God's going to come and save me. No, God's going to come and save me, when God is always giving me the ability to save myself or whatever. And I'm using this as in, that's not necessarily the way that I think, but as in the story reflection, you're not going to have as much success, or you're going to have the adverse and you're going to create failure. And that's why this year wasn't your year, is because you didn't get your head out of your ass and actually do the things that you need to do. Instead, it's the whole new year, new me, like bullshit. And you're hurting yourself because you're ignoring the signs that are in front of you because you're expecting something different. And so you can hurt that year that's supposed to be your year and not have it come to the true fruition that it could.
I mean, and I absolutely think there could be years that auspiciously are more aligned in certain ways. That's great. However, if that were really the truth and you didn't have to do anything, then everybody would have a great year because it was the year of whatever animal and it was the year everybody was supposed to. But some people don't have a great year, and that's because they don't do the things.
Yeah.
There are a lot. I mean, we could go down a very big rabbit hole on this, and I probably have just offended people, but I just feel like you still have to put in the work, no matter how the universe is lining up to help you. If you decide to walk the other way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, the gates can be open, the light is shining, but you could still choose the other path. We have free will. So we're saying choose you in a better way. Give yourself the opportunity to succeed by setting yourself up for success. And that doesn't necessarily mean having this ridiculously long list of New Year's resolutions that you're not going to achieve.
Yeah. One last thing before we close off is, I think also with this kind of mentality, people get stuck living in the future, and that I can change it tomorrow. The promises of tomorrow, right?
Someday.
Someday. Tomorrow is never promised. And we start to be more disconnected, I believe, from our life and from today. And that is not a way to live life. We end up starting to go through motions and not really be centered in the here and the now. And I can tell you from someone who practices it, to really be in the here and the now, and there's all these different analogies and little fable story things about, the past, the present and the future, and the Buddhist kind of mentality around it as well. And at the end of the day, if you are living in the future all the time, you are missing out on your life, on the potential and what's right in front of you in your business. And it's just, in my opinion, it's not a well-lived life, period. So
Preach it.
yeah,
I think we can complete our rant there.
Yeah.
We can go on and on, but we will stop there. But if there was anything in this podcast that resonated with you, if you are struggling with New Year's resolutions as we do, or if you need a little bit of a kick or know someone who does towards that evolution of who you are, send someone this podcast, re-listen to it, or send us a note, because we want to know, what is your big business goal this year? What is the one thing that you want to achieve more than anything else?
Absolutely. Yes. Listen, we want you to have your best year, but over and over and over again, stacked upon, not single, right? It's kind of like the sales cycle. It's not a one-time fit. It's the whole of who you are. So we want to hear about the successes building upon those successes. So also let us know how you have created a lifestyle and not just an instant fix that is creating that momentum for you and your business. Till next time, everybody.
Get after it.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to the pursuitofbadasserie.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
let's get after it.